Hey everybody, this is Chris Stafford with the Max Show. That's Massive Abundance Exposed, where we expose all the badass secrets of entrepreneurs all around the world. And do we have a badass entrepreneur for you today, Mr. Richard Schulman? Richard Schulman is the number one, and I'm going to repeat that, the number one real estate agent in Los Angeles. How freaking cool is that? So I can't wait to start talking to Richard and get all his juicy tidbits on how he's running his business. But before we start talking to Richard, make sure you jump on massiveabundanceinc.com, sign in, get yourself some free goodies. And without further ado, Richard Schulman. Hey everybody, you're not going to believe it. We have Richard Schulman in the house. How you doing, Richard?
I'm great, Chris. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, I'm honored that you took the time. You are one busy cat. I've got all kinds of things I want to talk to you about. But why don't we just start off and let our listeners and viewers see what you're all about, maybe a little bit about your background, your business.
Sure, yeah, thanks, Chris. I've been in real estate for 10 years now. I started after I was a painting contractor for a couple of years and saw the opportunity in real estate. So I've been doing real estate for 10 years. I moved to Keller Williams about 7 years ago, and they brought me to the concept of running a team, which is really a way for me to provide a more efficient and higher quality service to my clients. So we run a team that covers the whole LA area, and we do that intentionally because LA is a very wide area, and people look in an enormous area of different range of places that they're going to be looking in. So we want to provide a solution for all of those people. So the team satisfies clients from north to south, east to west, the whole county.
Well, so how many people are on your team?
We have 12 people on the team.
Wow.
We have 4 salespeople, including me. We have 3 support staff, and then we have 5 administrative people.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, that seems like a lot of our viewers are probably thinking to themselves, that seems like a huge managerial responsibility. I mean, is that something that you just naturally grew into, or is it all work out pretty cool?
It is a huge responsibility, and I find I spend a fair amount of time running the team, and not so much that, oh, we have problems, I have to manage people in that respect, but just sort of coordinating things. So the key has definitely been creating solid systems so that people can manage themselves and run themselves, and very clear responsibility of, when do you ask me a question, when do you ask another person a question, and who's responsible for what. So that's really crucial to keep the workflow down. And then some of the staff people support or manage other of the staff people so that I don't interact with them directly on a daily basis.
Well, I got to ask you because, again, for our viewers, many of our viewers are real estate agents and real estate brokers. So we definitely want to make sure that if you have any referrals to the whole Los Angeles area, definitely go to richardschulman.com. That is where you'll get all kinds of really cool information. And you have got the most amazing website. I would absolutely recommend everybody get to that website. It's pretty cool, all the information you have on there. But,
yeah, it's been a labor for 10 years to put it all together.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. But listen, in 10 years, I've been in the business for about 22 years. I'm still selling real estate here in San Francisco. And I'm thinking to myself, God, in 10 years, you have created this team that covers the whole city. You are one of Keller Williams' top agents. You are like 0.1% of all realtors nationwide. You are making a buttload of money. And that's a technical term, by the way. What's your secret to do this?
That's one of the most common questions I get asked, and I really don't think that you can say, oh, there's one thing to do. I know that maybe it's not what you wanted to hear, but I usually have an answer. I give a couple of things to do. So first of all, you can't get it past the hard work. So I heard a saying that, quality of time versus quantity of time. Well, you can't have quality of time without quantity of time. So you have to put in there. So, I learned early on this is a full-time job. Plus, and not just, well, I'm going to take half a day off because someone else will be working. So number one is going to be hard work. Number 2 is going to be knowledge. You have to be knowledgeable and add value. And the third thing, maybe combined with the second thing, is you have to really come from a perspective of service, that if you don't really have your client's best interest at heart, you're not going to stick around for a long time. So, yeah, you can always, have your interest at heart and get a couple of deals closed, but you're not going to get repeat referrals and good reviews if you're thinking about yourself over your client. So those are the top things that can make someone into a success.
I love those. Those are all really great tips that all of us should really take to heart, because I think that, number one, really, I always talk about being vulnerable with our clients and really getting into their heads and understanding what our buyers and sellers really want. I mean, that's how you really can provide really great service. And, to read your testimonials and everything, it sounds like you're doing that in spades. Would
Yeah,
you?
we find out what they want, and we tell people when we don't think they should buy a house,
Hmm.
and we tell people if they ask us to sell, we tell them sometimes that selling is not the best move for them. So
Hmm.
that doesn't help us today, but those people will call us back in 3 years, or we'll get a call, hey, my brother wants to buy a house.
Right.
And so if you have a perspective of a long-term business, you need to get that. You need the referrals, because if not, you get bad posts online about you, it's going to kill your business.
Right, right. Well, switching gears a little bit, Richard, and I'm read a lot about you, and you are just an amazing. I think that you're like a bionic man or something, because your business, you are. How are you actually servicing residential clients? You're also doing REOs. You are working investment clients, and what am I missing? You're also doing short sales and foreclosed properties as well too.
Yeah.
Is this a
Well,
function of having
we
the
do
team?
everything.
You do everything.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to do everything, because if we're not doing everything, our clients are going to find someone else to do it. So one of my first clients was a friend of mine. He wanted to buy a house and an apartment building.
Hmm.
And I thought, well, this is a good source of business for me. But if I tell him I can't help with the apartment building, I lose that. And then maybe he finds someone else to help with the house. And I realized that a lot of our clients will buy a primary and a rental property. And we actually push our clients very hard to buy rental properties, because we believe that's a great way to build wealth long term. So absolutely the team does it. So the team is very leveraged. Everyone has very specific tasks. So myself and the other salespeople stay on point with very high level tasks. We're doing client interaction. We're doing showings, contract negotiation. The other elements, which I've designed, and it's not that we're having them done by a lesser person, but the reality is I'm not a graphics person. I'm not a marketing person. So we have graphics and marketing people who put that together.
Right. Good, good. I mean, that's amazing. So the tip, I mean, I think that's a great idea for all of us real estate brokers. And that is, really I love the idea about getting your primary clients into residential properties. And that's what we should all be doing. Great tip to really generate more business. But you do touch on one thing there too. And I always talk about the fact that you can't be all things to all people. And I think that's really what I was sort of getting at with, you being in all these different areas. Is it sort of hard sometimes, to switch, from the investment hat to the residential hat to the REO?
Not really. We have, let's say you want to switch from one area to another. We might hand you from one team member to another team member who might be more qualified to help you with that. As far as me doing it, with the REO and short sale, we have a processor who supports all the admin and managing those. So from my perspective as the agent, the function of managing those properties for sale is no different than any other property that we might have for sale. We have a very well-trained, experienced person who's managing the short sale process, managing the REO process, and they're both very burdensome. So I can't get in there, and, we were evicting squatters the other day. Well, they told me, because it's, I have to know, so I told them, call the police, call the bank, and stay at the house until the police lock it up again.
Right.
And so, that's 5 minutes for me, and it's, 8 hours for everyone else, but it has to get done properly.
Right, exactly. That's very cool. So that's obviously the advantage of having a team, so that you do have some team members that really sort of specialize in the different areas. So that's a big help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Absolutely.
What is your...
And the bigger the team gets, the more we can specialize, the more we can have people who hyper-specialize in certain functions.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes total sense. Okay, cool. Well, switching gears again, talking about marketing, the biggest buzz, I speak all over the country, and one of the biggest things that realtors want to talk about is what kinds of different marketing techniques. I don't know if you know who Barbara Corcoran is. Barbara Corcoran.
Oh, yeah.
She's on the Shark Tank. Yeah. She's amazing. And she said, what did she say just recently? She says, you really got to figure out what your competitors are doing from a marketing standpoint in real estate and do the exact opposite. And that's can be really tough for a lot of us to do. What's your biggest fruitful marketing effort that you're doing?
Well, so we do mostly internet marketing. We have two prongs. So our biggest marketing really is marketing to our own sphere of influence, which are past clients and past contacts.
Cool.
By virtue of our volume, we have 13,000 people in our database. So a very large chunk of our business, and our best business comes from that repeat, referral, built-in business. Now that the market's heating up, we're getting people calling us to sell their homes because we did a great job selling their homes previously. So that may be tough for a lot of people to replicate, but even if you're a new agent or a newer agent, you should still be thinking that your database is absolutely your best source of business, and for the most part, it's free. You don't have to buy any ads. You don't have to do anything expensive, just calls and emails. So that's the best part. The other stuff we do is internet advertising, and that's a little harder for a lot of people to replicate. We have a huge budget. We have a coordinator who does all the internet advertising, and we were the first people on all these websites. So we were the first ones on Zillow and Trulia and a bunch of other sites. So we have priority over all those territories. So that gives a lot of coverage to us for our sellers to get their listings promoted better, and more buyers will see us as the expert in the area because they're finding us online.
Do you mind sharing how much your budget is on a monthly basis for your internet?
I would not mind, but I honestly don't know because someone else handles that.
Okay.
So if I had to guess, it would probably be $10,000 a month or more. But that's sort of that's not my job.
Good. I like that.
Well, I write the checks, but someone else is sending them out. So
I love it. All of us, Richard, all of us entrepreneurs and real estate brokers, especially, our path to success always has bumpy rides, bumpy roads. We all have various challenges. Can you think of one challenge that you've had in your last 10 years with your business, that something that you just thought was overwhelming, and how did you handle it? How'd you get over it?
That's a good question. Part of my personality type is I really don't feel overwhelmed by things. I think if I had to point to anything, and maybe it's not a perfect answer, but I always look back as sort of the pivotal moment is when I first started building the team, and I never really intended to. I was going on vacation, and my office insisted that I have an assistant, a paid licensed assistant, cover my files while I was gone. And that was sort of the start. And I sort of, at the beginning, I had a lot of trouble saying, well, I'm going to keep this girl on and, pay her $3,000 or $4,000 a month, because at the time it was such a big amount of money and such a big leap of faith to do that. So it took a long time to get to there. And I had the same challenge when I hired my first buyer's agent. I'm going to give this guy my leads that I worked for, that I paid for, and I'm just going to hand them to some guy I barely know and see if he can produce for them. And both those people have been with me for over 5 years now.
Wow, that's great.
But it was hard to sort of, the first few steps in building a team are very hard to. Okay, I'm gonna hire this person, and they're going to be the ones doing all the win forms and DocuSigns.
Right.
And I have to trust that they can do a good job. So
right.
Once you get past that hump of, okay, I can trust someone, I can let go, it's really great, and you can move forward. And that was, for me, probably the biggest, the toughest thing to do in the business.
I mean, it's really, that's so true. I mean, for all of us entrepreneurs, it's letting go. All of us think, we could do everything ourselves so much better. But, what's amazing to me is that I always talk to realtors about, leveraging yourself and figuring out what it is that you don't like to do or you don't need to do, and get that out to other people. Because so many realtors have a real hard time letting go, because, and the cool thing is that I found out is that there are so many people that are brighter than us, that can really do amazing jobs. So
yeah, you have to find what you're best at and just do that. Yes. And if you're, I remember in 2007 still I was stamping and gluing envelopes in my living room for mailers. And it's like, okay, well, I can move on from this, and I'm good at it, but someone else is probably just as good at it.
Absolutely. I love it. Now, you're the #1 realtor in Los Angeles. I mean, that still just blows my mind. Do you get time off? Are you available 24/7, or do you take time off with your family? How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, I try to, I make real estate flexible, and, I have a, young daughter, so I try to spend as much time with her as possible. It's about organizing and focusing on your work. So, in the morning, I like to do all my emails, so I get my inbox cleared out. And then I get some family time, then I work all day, come home a little early, and then pick up with some work at night. But, part of having a team is say, okay, I'm going to go on vacation for the week, the weekend, whatever it is, and, someone will be there to cover, because they know when they go on vacation, someone will be there to cover for them.
Got it.
So,
Got it.
And you have to. You can't, You can't just work all the time and expect to be happy.
Right,
And if
exactly.
you're not happy, you're not going to do a good job with your business.
Pay attention, everybody that's listening to this. Take the time off. Do what Richard's doing. It's so key. It's
Yeah,
so critical.
absolutely. And it's a great way actually to sort of stress test your business when you go on a vacation.
Hmm.
You can kind of see, okay, where are the weak points? Because really, the only thing that shouldn't be happening if I'm out of town, what shouldn't be happening is, me going on meetings with people.
Right.
I can still respond to emails and handle some important phone calls if there's an offer or contract that needs my attention. But really, the only thing I shouldn't be doing is having face-to-face meetings. So the rest of the team should run, 95% smoothly
Everything.
with me not there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Hey, Richard, so what's the next big, I mean, you've got the world by the tail right now, it seems like, but I know somebody like you, I bet you have like this big vision. What's your next big thing that you're going to be coming down the pike with? Anything in the
You know,
plans?
I've sort of been working on that, and I really haven't come up with anything. Keller Williams has a model of how a team should look,
Hmm.
and they have levels for the team. So I don't know if you've seen this chart
Yeah, I
before,
have seen
but
it, yeah.
they have for the listeners, they have a chart from a first level is a single agent by himself, then an agent with an assistant. No one can see my hand now actually, but
Uh-huh.
so all the way up to the seventh level, which is sort of the the holy grail of Agent Mountain, and that's where you have a business, you have a Subway franchise. That's always my analogy.
Uh-huh.
You have a Subway franchise, and you just check in once a week, make sure all the sandwiches are getting made.
Right.
So I don't want to do that yet, but I think at this point I've covered the first 6 levels. What I really want to do is just expand. So instead of going up horizontally, I want to just expand, or going up vertically, I want to expand horizontally, just grow the team to a larger and bigger team.
Hey, listen, you're the head of Los Angeles. Why don't you should just do all of California. I can,
No, it's enough trouble commuting around Los Angeles. So
there you go. There you go. Hey, listen, I always like to sort of end these things, Richard, with one question. I always get a kick out of how everybody answers this question. But if you had a brand new real estate agent that comes to you and they're sitting in front of your desk and they say to Richard, what's the secret to being a success in this business? What's the one thing you tell them?
I think I'd have to go back to hard work. I think if you have the impression, like you've seen this on TV and you drive around in a Mercedes and show people houses and they write full price cash offers, I think you have another thing coming to you. I
Yeah.
think that you have to realize that this is, the same as any other small business, that it's going to be a really, really hard first couple of years to establish yourself, to survive without making money, to learn the business. You have to learn the business at the same time that you're going to have to also get business and convert business.
Right.
And in real estate, you might have 120 days from meeting someone to getting paid from someone is really fast.
Mm-hmm.
So you might have to wait. It took me 9 months to make my first sale. So, I always tell people, can you make it 9 months without making a sale? If the answer is no, then you're wasting your time here.
Well, there you go. There you go. And that's what it comes back to, hard work. What do they say? It's the hardest
Exactly.
high-paying job in the world or the easiest low-paying job in the world? Something like that.
I haven't heard that, but that sounds about right.
Listen, Richard, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time. You are the #1 agent in Los Angeles. We're going to make sure that we get everybody to richardschulman.com. For those that need the
Great.
referrals, send them your way. Richard, thank you so much for taking the time, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris. Really appreciate it. Talk to you soon.
Okay, we'll stay in touch. Take care. Hey, was that cool or what? I mean, talking to Richard is just mind-blowing to me because, I mean, he's running all of LA. I mean, he is your LA guy, your go-to man. So I just had a blast talking to him, and I love the fact, too, emphasize it's all about hard work and leveraging yourself, doing the things that you're good at. I mean, I loved his path to success, and definitely make sure you check out richardschulman.com. He has an amazing website all about Los Angeles and what you guys need to know. So thank you so much, Richard. I really appreciate your time. Leave us some love down below. Give us some comments. Let us know what you think about Richard, what you think about this show. Are you tired of seeing me in this shirt? Whatever it is. So thank you so much for joining us, everyone. I really appreciate it. This is Chris Stafford with Massive Abundance, and may massive abundance be yours.